All aboard! Step right up to the Greenpeace ship of fools. Greenpeace runs on diesel, now boarding the climate propaganda boat. Green energy profiteers, carbon carpetbaggers, pandering politicians, power-hungry UN bureaucrats. Yes, that's right this way, clueless green activists, and yes, one-sided media, all aboard.
I'm here at the UN Climate Change Conference in Bonn, Germany, and I found a fellow skeptic, Mark Morano from CFACT and Climate Depot. Mark, we were witness to your little stunt this morning down at the Greenpeace boat.
Yes, Greenpeace boarded an energy plant and went on and trespassed and tried to shut it down, and they love these kind of stunts. So we thought a little of their own medicine might be in order. We did this in 2009. We boarded the Greenpeace ship at the Copenhagen UN Climate Conference, and we unhoisted the banner that said "Ship of Lies." So today we decided to dress up as a captain and welcome everyone aboard to this UN Climate Summit. And we welcomed aboard the rent seekers, the carbon carpetbaggers. We welcome aboard the biased media. We welcome aboard the clueless green activists, is what we called it. We welcome aboard the UN bureaucrats who are seeking control and power. We just wanted to do something fun and use the Greenpeace ship as a backdrop, and I think it worked. I think we had a lot of fun. Greenpeace, of course, was freaking out and ended up calling the police on us.
They didn't like when you tried to go on board their ship, though, and I thought that was weird. Since when does Greenpeace care about following the rules?
That's right, exactly. They were asking us to show respect. Well, at what point do they show respect? Back in I don't know what year it was, but in Peru, they had messed up the Aztec lines, Aztec ruins. They went in and ancient cultures and did a stunt and got in trouble by the government and had to leave the country, if I recall correctly. So they have zero record of respect. And of course, you know, your own Patrick Moore has detailed that, how the organization just bailed on that. So it's always fun to give them a little bit of their own medicine. And I tried to be respectful. When the lady said no, I turned around and left because I wasn't gonna go to their tactics and trespass.
Now, I'm not allowed in the conference because I didn't make any friends last year. What, if anything, are they accomplishing in there, or do we even want them accomplishing anything?
Well, interestingly enough, the Trump official team is behind a locked door, closed doors, hunkered in and hiding. The only event they had, of course, was preemptively shut down, and none of the people who did that stunt interrupted the event, shut it down, sang for 12 minutes, lost their badges, and anything bad happened to them. They were completely got the stamp of the United Nations to approve that. But what else is going on is you have a bunch of shadow delegations. You have Governor Jerry Brown, you have Minnesota governors, you have Massachusetts state legislators, all acting as sovereign nations, going in and saying, Donald Trump isn't going to play ball, but we will negotiate directly with our state. We will comply. And suddenly, liberal Democrats in America are the biggest advocates now of federalism and states' rights. That wasn't always that way.
You know, that's funny because Governor Jay Inslee was part of that protest. And I actually reached out to the UN because I wanted to know, are those people being banned for harassment? And they actually told me that that protest got an official permit. They got permission from the UN to interrupt the official American delegation.
Which I find fascinating, because if you're the US and you're having the only event here, really, the entirety, and the UN gives it a 12-minute hole where people can just do what they want, that's kind of I mean, is that the same? Can they do that in any other country and any other thing? Or is it because President Trump's views here aren't popular? That's very, very suspect.
What do you think this means going forward? Are they still in Trump denial? Like, remember last year, it was like there was a funeral, but they weren't willing to admit the person was dead. That's what was happening last year, because President Donald Trump was he was elected during the course of the conference and everyone was in denial. Is that denial lingering on?
Yes, I think it's a big part of it. They're trying to act like he doesn't exist. And to the extent to that, you had the French president and the German chancellor come out and say, hey, we'll make up any funding shortfalls in the United States, which to me says, it works. Trump's policies are great. If they want to kick in more money to this useless process, more power to them. If Californians in Massachusetts and the state of Washington and Minnesota want to waste their resources in trying to comply with United Nations, you know, as far as where I'm concerned, witchcraft treaties, that's great. I'm all for it. I think what they're doing is they're trying to say Trump's irrelevant and they're moving on. The problem is, without the United States here, eventually a lot of these developing countries that were expecting big payouts, if they don't get it and they don't think the U.S. is going to be paying, there's going to start being some balking down the road.
Is part of this almost like a bureaucratic party planning committee for next year? Because I hear they're always talking about the next conference, the next conference,
Yes.
the next conference, where they can get together and congratulate themselves for. I'm not sure what. I don't know what goes on at these things. I was inside one. I've been outside one. I don't know what happens.
First of all, there's a huge amount of partying, socializing, and all that and going on.
Riverboats.
That's right, riverboats, and they've already announced next year is in Poland. Now that'll be the third Polish event in 10 years. It could be because they're cheaper, but it's also because Poland's one of the countries that has been hesitant. They're trying to develop, and they don't like this, so they're maybe just to continue whatever they need to do. They lure them in. If developing countries are balking, they increase the wealth redistribution.
Right.
They know how to pay people off. They know how to organize this. They know how to keep this all together. I did a TV interview just a little while ago, and the host is like, well, how could all these countries be wrong on global warming? Well, first of all, it's a political process. The fact that all these countries want something from a UN treaty, especially the developing world, doesn't make the science right.
Right. Well, Mark, are you going to Poland?
Probably. I'm kind of disappointed. You know, one of the things as an observer here, it's kind of fun when they pick places like Bali or Kenya and all these. This is, 2 years in a row, Germany and Poland, they're not getting the wow factor. I'm kind of disappointed. The UN, maybe they're having budget cutbacks because they're not picking exotic locales.
Well, like you said, they probably are putting the hard press on Poland.
Yes.
Thanks for talking to me, Mark. It's been a wild, crazy week. A lot of hypocrisy on the ground, for sure.
Thank you. It has. And, it's a monument of nothingness is what's going on here. It really is. They're just, yesterday President Macron came. I confronted him and actually told him President Trump is correct on climate change. I shook his hand on a video. I just wanted someone here, because it was so sycophantic. He was treated literally, and I say this not metaphorically, with a red carpet arrival, just like a Hollywood celebrity. Yeah. And it was just nice that he heard from someone that Donald Trump is right, that there's a Trump supporter here in the audience, because otherwise it's just he's treated like a rock star celebrity and they don't hear it's an echo chamber. It's a giant echo chamber.
Great. Thanks for joining me, Mark.
Thank you, Sheila.
It's been a really crazy week here in Bonn, Germany at the UN Climate Change Conference. To see all of my reports, go to rebelun.com.